Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's show. We're so excited to have you tonight. We've got a fantastic guest. Brian and I are really excited to have her. But first off, I would like to introduce my co-host, my friend, my business partner, Brian Kelly. Brian has over 23 years of software engineering experience. He owned a travel-based MLM company for 6.5 years. He works on the technology on our show and puts this together. He is a speaker and author. He is blogging and going to, after tonight, become even more of a blogging enthusiast, along with social media. I do want to say that I am wearing a pink K and pink earrings tonight because of our guest. She is just totally in the pink, but also because I want to make everybody aware of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and also to honor my sister Linda, who we lost to breast cancer 13 years ago, and also to Brian's mother that we lost last year. So with that, thank you very much for coming to tonight's show. And Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Oh, you almost got me all blubbery right there. Thank you so much for mentioning our past loved ones. That was very sweet. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. My wonderful co-host, Kathy, has a plethora of experience dating way back, and let's get to it. She's been an operations and sales manager for over 25 years with a Fortune 500 company, which to me is very, very impressive. She's also a speaker and author. In fact, she shared the stage recently with Maurice Domino, Craig Duswalt, Tom Antion, and Sherry Tree. She's a social media coach, very, very well pronounced in the area of social media. If you have any need in the social media arena to get your business going from a marketing standpoint, I'm telling you, Kathy is the bomb, all right? She's also a power seller with eBay, a designation that is very difficult to achieve, and also a top-rated seller on eBay. And I've seen proof of this. She has certificates on her wall in her office that have her name and the eBay logo right next to it. So that shows, that's to show everyone here watching the level of integrity and ethics that she works by. I wanted to just say thank you to everyone out there, the viewers that are watching us right now. We value your time, and we appreciate that you could be somewhere else. We really love having you here. Kathy, let's take this away, huh?
All right. I would like to read some information, share some fantastic information on our guest tonight. Denise Wakeman is founder of the Blog Squad and highly acclaimed online marketing advisor. Denise was an early online marketer and has been using the internet with great success as a marketing tool since 1996. She's an expert at helping authors, speakers, service professionals, and small business owners leverage blogs for their business, as well as strategically use social media tools to boost online visibility to get more traffic, leads, clients, and opportunities. Denise writes regularly on 3 marketing blogs, is a contributing author on socialmediaexaminer.com, has co-authored several blogging programs, and frequently speaks at conferences and workshops about business blogging and how to gain expert status through social marketing. Denise is also contributing author on business blogging success secrets of social media superstars. And she has also been quoted on the Wall Street Journal, the Huffington Post, Newsday, Canada's National Post, Fast Company Online, as well as many, many other online and offline publications. Brian and I are so excited and honored to have Denise Wakeman with us here tonight, founder of the Blog Squad. Denise, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, Kathy and Brian. I'm really excited to be here. I'm looking forward to this video technology and streaming live to everyone on the web.
Thank you so much for coming on and spending your time to be with us as well, Denise. I could not wait for this show to come up because, as we were talking just before the show, really am interested in what you have to share. And I know we don't have that much time on this show to go in real depth and detail, but at least to give a little taste of what we can all do with this concept of blogging. Now, you're known as the blog squad, which it sounds like a little play on the old film that we saw, The Mod Squad, or a TV show years ago. I'm dating myself there, eh? But would you give us a little background on how you got into business with blogging, or business blogging, as you put it?
Well, as you mentioned in your very kind intro, I've been working on the internet since 1996, and then in 2004 I was working with a client, and she sent me an email one day and said, I was working with her on her email marketing, and she sent me an email saying, I just set up a blog. I thought, oh my gosh, that means I need to set up a blog, because she's going to be asking me how to manage this thing, because she's not that technically savvy. And I knew what a blog was, because at that time, that was the 2004 presidential elections in the US, and one of the candidates of the primaries, Howard Dean, was one of the pioneers of using blogging in his campaign. So I knew about blogs as a political tool and also for entertainment, but I hadn't really considered it as a business tool. But what I did is I immediately set up a blog on a service called TypePad, and literally the light bulb went off over my head. I realized this was a tool that was perfect for independent service professionals, because it was so simple to set up. It was easy to manage. You didn't need a webmaster anymore. I mean, that was it was so liberating that within literally less than an hour, you could be publishing your content live on the web without needing anybody's help. And, things just really snowballed from there, because I started blogging. This was late 2004, so it's been 6 years now. And so, other clients were going, oh, what's this blogging thing? Or, would you help me with a blog? Started teaching about blogging, wrote some blogging programs, then started getting invited to speak about blogging, and it just sort of went from there. And yes, the whole blog squad thing is kind of play on the mod squad. I'm dating myself too, but, it just sort of fit, and the brand exploded, and it's just been a wild, crazy, fantastic, wonderful ride, and things have happened in my business that I would never even have dreamed about before that.
That's amazing. We hear about, and I could say we could probably put us in the mix as well, and I think, Brian, you would agree, that businesses, are getting great results with blogs, but a lot of businesses are, but there are a lot of people and a lot of businesses, Denise, that are using blogs and they're not faring so well. So why is that?
Well, I think that a lot of people jumped on the blogging bandwagon because they heard that that's what they were supposed to do. And certainly coming from me, being the blog squad, I say yes, every business should have a blog. I can't think of one single business that couldn't benefit. But I think that part of the problem is that they don't do any planning beforehand, and they don't really understand how a blog can work for their business. So they haven't been strategic about integrating it in with their other marketing efforts. So they're either not posting enough content, or they're too promotional with their content. Their writing is not conversational enough. So there's a lot of different factors that can create a situation where the blog isn't really working for the business owner or for the professional, because they haven't really taken the time to learn the best practices. I would say that there's no real rules to blogging, but there definitely are best practices. And just taking a few little bit of time to study. There's tons of resources all over the web about blogging at this point. But if you really take some time to figure out what works from a visual point of view, what works from a content point of view, from a search engine point of view, what your readers want, who your target audience is, that all helps create a better experience for your audience.
Okay, now, man, that was a lot of information, and good information. And I've been through this. Kathy's been through this. Many internet marketers out there have been through this, and business owners as well. There is a lot of information on the internet, and I think that's part of the problem. Is there is so much. You almost don't know who to trust, where to focus your efforts. And that's why I'm so happy to have you here, Denise, because you're one of the few that I personally have met and know that have actually been successful utilizing blogs and strategies through them. And so this is, I'm really excited to have you on here. I already said that, I know, but I'm almost sound like a groupie here pretty soon. But this is very good information, and for our viewers, get a little closer to the speakers because you want to hear what Denise has to say. And before we go on, real quick, I want everybody to realize that if you click on her nose, actually it's this way, up on the website here, but don't do it just now. Wait till the show's over, or if you're watching this recording after the fact, be sure to do it after you're through watching the show. But click right on her nose on that picture just above us, and that will take you to her Facebook fan page, and be sure to connect with her there. You'll get to know a little bit more about her as a person, as well as what she does from a business standpoint using blogging. She's also very adept at just advising on business in general. So it's not just blogs by themselves, it's how you integrate that. And in addition to that, we have a banner beneath us that says Business Blog Mastery. Click on that and you'll get an idea of all the resources that she can offer. Be sure to opt in over there and connect with her on that as well. But moving along, now,
Brian, can I just interject
absolutely.
something here real quick, if you won't mind?
Not at all.
On what she was saying a few minutes ago, and I actually had somebody ask me this today, or they were kind of confused, and I would like clarity on it. And that is, this individual was told, you really don't need a blog because it's going to be so time consuming. Mm-hmm. You really want a website first, and put a website out there, and do a blog later because you have to spend a lot of time doing that. So just real quick, how would you address that particular statement?
Well, I would say that they're going to get much better results with the search engines and with their audience, building a relationship with their audience with a blog versus a static website. A static website does not get indexed by the search engines nearly the same way as a blog does, because a blog has fresh content. Let's say if you're on a regular, consistent blogging schedule, a blog is going to give you the opportunity to build relationships through conversation with your potential audience, whereas a static website is more like a brochure. So I don't agree with that original answer to start with a website. I say start with a blog and build the relationship, and then if you still must insist on having a regular website, integrate that in with the blog, but start with the blog because that's going to be what's attracting the traffic to you versus a static website.
Great, thank you, Brian. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, not at all.
That came to mind. She was talking about that a second ago, but thank you.
Excellent
question. That was a great question.
Yes, that was fantastic. No problem there at all. That feeds right into the next question because, in fact, Denise, you refer to a blog as the hub of your business. Now, a hub is like the center point. That's the key. Without it, you have no support. So you feel so strongly about blogging that you have made it the hub of your online presence. Can you expand on that, on what that really means?
Yes, the reason I say that a blog really should be the hub of your online presence is precisely what you so beautifully led us into, Kathy, is that it is where you build the relationships with your potential client or customer, because you're having a conversation there. Whereas a static website is just that. It's static. It's got your products listed on it. Maybe it's got your bio listed on it, but there's nothing fresh about it generally. Whereas a blog is where you're having a dynamic conversation. It's interactive. I have some stats, if you don't mind, if I just read something quickly.
I don't know.
Because
please do.
I want to say why it's so important to be doing this, because a blog is really about building your online presence, and it's very powerful. In the 2009 State of the Blogosphere that's put out by Technorati, which is the largest blog directory on the web, 2,900 bloggers were surveyed, and they're professional bloggers. They were self-identified as professional bloggers. That means they're self-employed or they're blogging for a company. And they stated the following benefits of blogging. And this basically reinforces everything I say. So, but it's coming from another party, so it's not just my opinion here.
Got it.
71% said that they have greater visibility in their industry as a result of their blog. 63% said clients purchased products or services after reading their blog. 56% said that their company is now regarded as a thought leader, and 40% are asked to speak at conferences as a direct result of their blog. So, really it's about a blog allows you to curate the experience of your reader. It's sticky. People come back, they subscribe, so they become your fan. And that having a fan is what leads someone to become a client or customer or a referral. And it also helps you establish your expertise. A static site is just a brochure. It doesn't necessarily establish anything about you, but if you are consistently writing about what you're an expert at, what you're passionate about, people begin to see you as the authority in your niche, and they come and they begin to give you that credibility that is necessary to get those speaking gigs and the teaching gigs and attracting the clients. So it's really it's really about creating that home base, if you will, the foundation, the hub, and then you use your outposts, which are the other social media sites. I consider them outposts or satellites, some people call them, to drive people back to your blog where they can go deep, because Facebook, Twitter, you don't own those sites.
Right.
You don't own them. You're at the whim of their terms of service.
Good point.
And they can be hacked. They can be shut down. You can be shut down for no reason. This has happened. All these things have happened to me. I've gotten everything reinstated, but Twitter, it's happened. Facebook, I was hacked. Yet I can do nothing about that. I'm just at their mercy. But my blog, I own. And a blog is where I can go very deep with people versus 140 characters on Twitter, for example.
Right.
Okay, that was a little long-winded. I'm sorry.
So with social media, like you were talking, Twitter and Facebook, we can get to a point where people can know, like, and trust us to some degree. But you just pointed out that having your own blog gives you the freedom and the ability to do some things that you can't within social media. For example, the 140 characters or less, and then other things that you're talking about as well. But how would you say that you could really boost your credibility by having a blog? What is it about a blog that we can do with it that gets that level of credibility out into the marketplace?
Well, it's your soapbox. You control the content that is delivered through that platform, right? So
Right.
You have the opportunity to really demonstrate your expertise, and you can do that in myriad ways. I mean, through writing, through audio, through video, and also through association. So, for example, you can interview people in your industry, and then you are very often, when you associate with other people in your industry, successful people in your industry, you are then put in that same category. So it's success or credibility by association. So that's one piece of it. But also, when you're writing on a blog, you're building a body of work that demonstrates what you know and how you serve people, and that's what gives you credibility. Along with that, the more content you create, and it's all about content creation. It's, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, blogging, LinkedIn, whatever it is, it's all about creating content, whether it's 140 characters or 1,000 characters on a blog post. It's content. The more content you create, the more opportunities people have to find you. Every single blog post you write is a doorway into your business. And that's what continuously builds your credibility and establishes you as a thought leader in your industry.
Excellent.
Well,
Excellent. Now, we talked about in the very beginning that one of the reasons a lot of or a good portion of folks in business aren't succeeding with their blogs because we talked about many different factors, but one of those is they're not planning very well ahead of time. So, there are other reasons, of course, but what should a professional actually do before they start with a blog?
Excellent place to start. Anyone who's starting a blog really should do that initial planning before. It's not about the actual blog on the web. There's got to be some initial planning. What is the blog going to be about? What's the goal of the blog? What's the purpose of the blog? These are questions that really need to be answered first. Who's your target audience? I'm hoping that if you're in business, you already know who your target audience is. Now, you might have multiple audiences, and therefore maybe you need to be clear about which segment you're actually going after. But for example, on the purpose of the blog or the goal of the blog, some people write a blog in order to write and promote a book. Well, that's very different than writing a blog to establish your thought leadership in your industry, or about establishing yourself as authority in your industry. So you've got to be very clear about that to begin with. And then the next thing is you need to be very clear about your topic. And by being clear about your topic, I mean, what are you going to be writing about? So, for example, I do online marketing, and blogging is a subset of that. So I have a blog that's about business blogging, and that's all that's on that blog. I also have a blog that's on online marketing, which is more general, but the one on blogging is just about blogging. So, I try to be very clear and stay very focused on that. And a lot of people just throw anything on the blog and hope it sticks. But the more focused you are with your content, the more successful it will be, in my opinion, and what I have witnessed over time. The other thing is that you want to research what other people are writing about, what other blogs there are in your industry. Who else is writing on your topic? I mean, there's a gazillion people who write about online marketing and blogging. So who are they? What are the good ones? What do you like about them? What don't you like about them? Is there an opening there? Is there something that's not being covered? So that's what needs to happen before you actually decide to set up and design a blog.
Well, you're talking about checking out what other people have on. I'm going to throw out like a recipe blog as an example. There are recipe blogs out there everywhere. And it seems like, and this is another question that somebody asked me as well, if somebody has like a brownie recipe and they throw it out on their blog and somebody else has the same recipe, how are they going to find the one that I put out there? Does that have to do, Denise, with the content that they have overall as opposed to a specific blog post?
Yes and yes. If you're writing a dessert blog, for example, then all your content may be focused on desserts, and a brownie would fall into that. If you're writing a brownie blog, well, that'll be kind of limiting. But I don't know if you could find enough to write about on just a brownie blog. But if you're writing an online marketing blog and you write a brownie recipe, that's probably not going to come up too high in the search engines because it doesn't make sense. It's not, it doesn't fit into what the search engine is looking for on your site. It's an anomaly. So, but the other thing about that is there's personality involved too. Yes, there's tons of food blogs, recipe blogs, but there's only one of you, right? So, So it's got to be, thinking about what's your take on stuff. Do you write, are your recipes all organic? Are they, do you do a sugar-free dessert blog? That kind of thing. So what's your take on it so that's just something a little bit different that makes it stand out from all the rest of them? Do you do recipes for kids? That kind of thing. So what's the niche? And, the other thing is that I didn't mention is that when you're doing your prep, you also got to know what your target audience wants.
Oh,
So, that's pretty important to know what they want, because otherwise you're just writing for yourself. Nobody cares about what you're writing about. Then it's just an exercise in, I don't know, ego. But so if let's say you're a nutritionist and you decide you want to start writing a blog about with recipes, for example, well, I would survey my clients, my existing client base first, and find out what kind of information they want. And then I would target that information.
Now, do you have any tips on what you would do if you don't currently have a client base? How would you find out what other people are interested in when it comes to that?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I would use the social media tools that are available to us. Post a question on Facebook. Put out a question on Twitter if you've got Twitter followers. If you're on LinkedIn, post a question on LinkedIn Answers. I mean, that's one of my favorite places for getting content, because I can throw out a question and have 50 responses that I can just craft into 10 blog posts if I need to.
Fantastic.
There's just great places all over the net to find some juicy content. That's for sure.
Yes.
What I would like to do is ask, can you expand on what your take is on the 4 essential elements of a successful blog? Because many of us really don't understand what elements there are out there, and that it's a necessity.
Well, since I've been doing this for the last 6 years, what I came up with was a system, sort of. It's called CODA, C-O-D-A. And there's 4 elements that I feel are important to putting together a good, solid blog. C is for content, the most important thing, right? O is for outreach. D is for design. And A is for call to action, or action. And obviously content is the critical piece, because it all revolves. Without the content, nobody's going to be visiting, nobody's going to read. If your content isn't really engaging, then, again, it's an exercise in futility. Outreach is about going beyond the boundaries of your blog, if you will. So there's 2 sides to it. One is connecting with people on your blog, so through commenting, responding to people, actually having conversations, because a blog is interactive, right?
Right.
Then also, but going beyond that and reading and participating on other blogs in your niche. So I usually recommend to my clients that they find 3 to 5 blogs in their niche that complement what they're doing and that really resonate with them, and then subscribe to them so that they're getting the content on a regular basis, read them when there is new content, and then be active. So comment on the content if it's relevant to something you want to say. You don't just say, "Hey, nice post, dude." Well, people do that, but really say, contribute to the conversation, because that does a lot of different things for you. One, it brings you to the attention of the other blog author who might be a joint venture partner. You never know. It also brings you to the attention of their audience, and it also gives you a link back to your blog. It boosts your visibility on the web. So if you just stay on your own blog, then you're living in a little bubble. Outreach is also about being involved in this other social networking site. So being involved on Twitter, being involved on Facebook, being involved on LinkedIn if it's appropriate for your business, being involved, on a niche social media site, whatever it is. It's about participating outside of your blog, but then bringing them all back home to your home base. So that's O for outreach. D is design. That's pretty, straightforward. Design is very subjective. Everybody's got their opinion about what's good design, what's bad design, but there are some things around navigation that you want to make sure, people can find what they're looking for, and that it's easy to read, and that the colors are appropriate to your brand if you've got brand colors, if your logo. Make sure you have your picture. This is one of my pet peeves, is landing on a blog and the author's picture is nowhere to be found. It's like, who is the author? A blog is a personal conversation between you and your reader. They want to know what you look like. Who are you? Not just a book cover or something, who are you? So design is an important aspect. And then A, for action, call to action. Another key missing piece on a lot of blogs is that there's nothing that takes people from reading your content to doing something. So you need to be telling people what to do. What do you want them to do? Subscribe to get blog updates, get your free report, sign up for your teleseminar, comment. You've got to tell people what to do. And a lot of people will say to me, nobody ever comments on my blog. And you've probably heard this before too. And I'll go look at their blog, and there is nothing on their blog that is the least bit inviting to anybody to want to comment. First of all, it's not clear where they can click to comment. Yeah. There's no open-ended question, so if you want people to comment, then you say, hey, what's your opinion about this? Or what would be tip number 6? I gave you 5 tips. What's your 6th tip? Please post it in the comments below.
Yeah, it's simple.
Well, I wanted to ask, talking about comments, on my blog, I get quite a few as well, and they're really weird. Sometimes they don't even make any sense. So my question is, oh, that's spam. Well, my question is this. I set mine up so that it has to be approved, but before it shows. But am I missing anything by doing that? Would you suggest that I let it post and then go in and take it off? Or is that the appropriate way to have it set?
That's an excellent question, and it's one that I think a lot of bloggers grapple with. And I certainly had to deal with this question myself. For 5 years, I had open comments, and I didn't moderate them. And then I just was getting overwhelmed with spam comments, or just these bogus comments that is just some robot that they think they're getting a backlink from your blog, and they're not usually. So I think that in this day and age, with that kind of automation that's happening, you actually do have to moderate your comments, unfortunately, because it is one barrier for people. But unless you can stand it, and I can't, I don't want that garbage on my blog.
And I actually found a plugin that I found useful to keep those robots, specifically the robots, out, because I was getting a lot of Russian websites. The origination of the comment was coming from Russia, and you could tell they were robot messages. Many of them didn't even make sense. And they have WordPress plugins that you can just put in the CAPTCHA that has that graphic that you have to actually type something in to show you're a human being, and that can help as well. But that was a great question, Kathy. I've been wondering that myself. Excellent. Yeah,
and the thing is, there's a lot of people being paid like 5 cents a comment, real people, so that they're bypassing that.
Right.
But you can tell when it's garbage, because they don't make sense at all. They have nothing to do with what you've written about. Their spelling is terrible, and it's very clear that they're just trying to get some link. And most blogging platforms, unless you specifically tweak the settings, have what's called no follow, which means that the search engines don't follow those links in the comments anyway. So it's a total waste of somebody's time and money, as far as I'm concerned, to be doing this.
Well, now, is backlinks something in your program that you coach and teach about? Is that part of?
I don't worry too much about backlinks, actually, because I figure that if you are if you are writing great content, then people will link to you. And so I don't do any overt, backlinking programs or anything like that. Certainly you can do backlinking through guest posting on other blogs and getting, a resource box, link back to your blog that way. By article marketing, you can get linked back to your blog by having your posts, syndicated to all your social networking sites. But, the thing is that you want to write for people first, because you're going to do business with people, not robots and not search engines.
Excellent. Now, we've talked about a number of things on what to do, like your example of the 4 essentials with Coda, to content and to engage in outreach with folks, to get, to make sure your blog has a decent design and a call to action somewhere in your posts or on your wherever you would recommend they put those, maybe on the sidebar somewhere. And of course, we don't want to go in there and comment and say, "Good post, dude." We got that from you as well. But besides that one, what are some of the common mistakes that you see people making when blogging?
Well, I mentioned one, that not having your photo, your picture, not having some kind of visual image of yourself on the blog. I like to see that personally. I like to see that on the home page, although it could be on an about page also. Another mistake I often see is that there's no indication beyond the picture of who the author is. So your name. I have done so many blog reviews where I cannot find the name of the author.
Wow.
And, it's like, again, who are you? I want to know who I'm doing business with if you want me to do business with you, right? No clearly defined audience. It's not real clear what's the topic about. And this goes back to what I was talking about earlier about not planning. So typically what I like to see in a header on a blog is the name of the blog, a tagline that tells me, what am I going to see here? What am I going to learn here? And who is this for? Because that's what people look at right at a glance. That's the first thing they see. So is this blog for me? And am I going to learn something? Am I going to learn what I want to learn here? If not, I'm going to move on. If so, I'm going to stay, right? Another big piece that I often see missing is no way for people to subscribe by email to get blog updates. Many blogging platforms have built into them an RSS, or really simple syndication, subscription option. But let me tell you that most people have no clue what that is. They have no idea what that little orange button means. And again, you have to know your audience. If you're writing a tech blog, they will know what that means.
Right, that's
but
true.
If you're writing a recipe blog for moms, they might not know what it means. So
that's an excellent point.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. Give multiple options for getting updates. So make sure that you have an email subscription form. And there's many ways to do that. There's FeedBlitz is the one I've been using for years. It's a great service. FeedBurner has an email subscription form. Aweber you can use. So install a email subscription. That's the one thing. Please install that email subscription form. Let's see. Barriers to commenting. We talked a little bit about commenting. Some blogs, like the default setup is that you have to sign in to comment. And right there, or be a member. I mean, I've seen this on blogs. You have to be a member in order to comment, and it's not even a membership site. It's just the blog, like some default something in the blog setup that nobody ever changed. I won't do that if I have to sign up. You got to make it easy. Make it as easy as possible, because otherwise people just move on. They're too busy. The other thing is too much promotion. You want to be delivering useful content. You want to deliver content that is educational, that is engaging, that is somehow enriches your reader's life. How are you making your reader's life better? How are you solving their problems? And when you do that, then occasionally you throw in, I mean, I have no problem. I mean, a blog is a business tool in my book. So I have no problem saying, hey, I've got, I'm going to be doing an interview, or I just launched a new product, but in between, that's one post. And then there's maybe 10 in between where people are getting, valuable content that is actionable. So I could go on and on, but I know I'm getting a little long-winded. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Go as long as you want.
That's great. I was going to ask you this question. We all know that video is just king right now, and that everybody feels like this is a phenomenal way to have the search engines come to blogs and websites, and that the search engines really like it as well. So are you a big proponent on just slamming a blog with a lot of video content?
I'm a proponent of slamming a blog with content and mixing it up. I don't, the search engines, I may be wrong on this, but as far as I know, the search engines still prefer text when they're indexing content. They are getting better and better about indexing video content, but text still rules. So what I advise is to mix up content. So do some video, do some audio, do some text. I wouldn't, unless you're do only video. Like, for example, one of the very, very popular blog is winelibrary.tv by Gary Vaynerchuk. You may know him. And he does video blogging only because that's who he is. He's just crazy off the wall guy. He's really super enthusiastic. He has a wine company that, he took to gazillions of dollars, and he is just this passionate, wild guy. He wrote the book Crush It that was came out about a year ago. It's really, good little jewel of a book. I recommend that anybody read that. But he does video. He doesn't write blog posts. He does videos, and he'll do them everywhere and anywhere. But not everybody likes video. Not every reader or blog person, not everyone in your audience likes video. So one of the things I've been doing lately is, one, doing a mix, but also providing the content in multiple formats. So for example, today I was just working on a blog post that I'll publish in a couple of days, but I did a video interview with a colleague of mine about psychology and social media. She's an expert on that. And so I have a video interview, and it's about a 12-minute video. So it's not just a 2-minute tip. It's an interview. But I pulled out the audio of it, and I had the audio transcribed. So on the blog post, they can watch the video, they can download the MP3 file, or they can read it, however they want. They can get the content however they want. And then I'll repurpose that and spread it around to lots of other places too. So I'm leveraging my content. But that's an example of how you can mix it up in a lot of ways too.
That's very reassuring to hear, because literally Kathy and I have been discussing that kind of approach with several areas of our website as well. And we were wondering, or I was wondering especially, if that was advantageous, and if you notice any more stickiness, if you will, of your viewers as a result of that, because some are visual, some would rather read, others would rather listen. All the five senses, except we don't have smell and taste incorporated. Maybe we can work on that technology wise, but especially with a recipe blog, that would be awesome, huh?
Right. Well, and the thing about repurposing your content into multiple formats, which is I'm becoming a huge proponent of that. I mean, I was just a writer for a long time, but now I'm doing it in as many ways possible. I am seeing a trend of more and more people doing audio recordings of their blog posts. I've just noticed that more and more. But the thing is that you can then deliver them in so many different places. So you do that video, well, it goes on YouTube, and then you can distribute it through TubeMogul or Traffic Geyser.
And what are you going to do with it?
On Facebook, and so now your video is all over the place. In the audio, you do a podcast, and it's on iTunes and on all the podcast directories. Your content, well, anyway, there's a lot of ways to repurpose written content as well, too.
Let me ask you this. You were talking about the audio part of creating an audio part to the blog. So are they actually like posting the blog and then reading it themselves and recording it, and that's how they're putting it out there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't do it on every blog post, but some blog posts I write that are longer form articles, because I do a whole mix of styles. So some, they might be 1,000, 1,500 word article. It's an in-depth researched article. I'll read that. I just do a recording. About a 1,500 word article takes about 7 to 9 minutes. I record it. I upload the audio, and they can they can play it on, in line on the blog post, or they can download the MP3 and read it.
Cool. I like that.
Taking
I
notes.
like it. I like it. I
talk-
do. That's great. I mean, I have been into your blog. I've been going into different parts of it when I found out that we were going to have you on the show. I guess I didn't hit one of those yet, but I'm going to check that out for sure. That's very fascinating.
I don't do it on all of them, mostly because I'm usually moving pretty fast, and it does take a little bit more time to do that. But when I do have a longer form article, I wouldn't do it just on a hey, here's a new tool, whatever. But
right.
But something like that, I'll do video tutorials, and then I might strip out the audio to give them that. And that's a new tool. A tool I found recently was a tool to strip out the audio from a video, and that got me so excited that I'm doing that on all my videos now.
You talked earlier about one of the mistakes being folks promoting too heavily through their blog, and I know the type, we both know the type, Kathy and I, where every post is, go buy my product here, or go join my MLM here, or get my affiliate product here. Now, you're using the blog as your hub, and you still have to promote, and you say you mix it in with moderation. Is the blog your primary promotion tool, or do you use other vehicles? What's your favorite way to promote with relation to your blog, I guess?
Well, I think it needs to be integrated into a whole comprehensive marketing strategy.
Okay.
And I will be very honest about this. Email still gets the best results.
Okay.
When I have something to, like a promotion, or I'm part of I'm part of a lot of things that are coming up really soon, and always the very best results come from email. That being said, there are people who read my blog who do not get my emails, and there are people on Facebook who do not get my emails. I would like them to be getting my emails, and that is
Sure.
a goal. That's a goal, is to all the time get them to my blog and then get them into my database.
Right, to subscribe, and that's why you mentioned having the opt-in form.
Right, and that's why I have free video course on my blog, and that's why I have a subscribe to get blog updates. Get them in my database, because then you can do more marketing. But so I've got to hit them wherever they are. So if they're on Twitter, then they get a link on Twitter. If they're on Facebook, they're going to get it on Facebook. If they're on my blog, they're going to get it on my blog. Some people are on everywhere, and those are my fans.
Yeah.
That cross section are the people who want to hear everything I have to say, right? And that's the goal, is to bring all those people that I'm connecting with in various places to want to hear about everything, right?
Right, so that's the hub. You've got everyone coming from all these different avenues, and you're always directing traffic back to your blog, which has a subscription field in it, or an opt-in form, more commonly known, and so that way you capture the data. So you can post all day long about great value, but when you have something to promote, you're not skittish at all about typing an email and hitting the send button to that list. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what you're hearing.
Okay, excellent. See, that
That's
tip right
definitely
there.
what you're hearing.
That tip right there is worth its weight in gold, because here's someone who's successful at this. Denise has done this. It's a proven strategy, and she's not losing. Readers aren't dropping and falling by the wayside. Do it with professionalism and courtesy, of course, but you can see that if you start providing value and get people to know, like, and trust you, as Kathy and I are always preaching, the branding aspect of it, people are more likely to listen to literally anything you have to say if you're not cramming it down their throat through, your posts on your blog, as Denise has so aptly pointed out.
Right. All right, so I use my blog to teach or solve a problem or share a resource or a tip or something fun that I discovered, or I try to keep very on point. I don't go off point too much. And then when I've got something that I want to promote, then people will always drop off. When you promote something, because
That's
there's
inevitable.
always a subset of people who never want anything promoted. But I would be, I'm not going to be too shy. I'm going to say that those people probably don't have a successful business either.
Right.
If they don't like any marketing, you've got to market if you go on a business. You just have to. That's the end. I would be out of business. I wouldn't be here talking to you. I'd be at a job if I didn't market.
Yuck. Well, you know what? If a professional hasn't started blogging yet, and there are actually a lot of people out there that haven't. I obviously don't have the statistics, but it is amazing to me. Even Brian and I, when we're out and about and at different events, the folks that have not yet started a website or a blog, but we're talking about blogging. So as far as a blog, if they haven't yet engaged in one, what advice would you have for them?
Okay, so first you got to know what your goals are for the blog. Is this an authority blog? Is it a blog to promote, a book? Let's say a lot of people use a blog to write a book. That's why I've brought that up a few times. Is it an authority? Is it authority? Is it thought leadership? What is it that you want the blog to do? Do some research. Find 3 to 5 blogs in your niche to follow and see what do you like, what do you not like. I suggest going to a site like alltop.com. It's a site that curates the best of the best blogs in hundreds of categories. So go to alltop.com and do some research and find 3 to 5 blogs that you really like, and pay attention. Look at them. What do they look like? How do they navigate? What's the content like? What's the writing like? What's the style like? And really sort of get used to that and start commenting too. You don't have to have a blog to actually comment on blogs either. You can start getting your feet wet that way.
That's a good point.
Do your research. What beyond other blogs, what is your focus going to be? What are your topics going to be? If your topic is, sugar-free, desserts, okay, that's your big topic. Then what are like 10 subtopics below that you can write about on a consistent basis? Because you don't want to run out of steam after 3 months, right?
Right.
So really do some serious thoughts about that. What can you write about passionately and knowledgeably for the long run? I would never have thought I'd be doing this 6 years later. Believe me, that every day there's something else I can write about. Figure out what your core message is. What is it what's the problem that you solve, and what do you want to get across in all your content? And then figure out what platform that you want to work on. Is it on WordPress? Is it TypePad? And decide, are you a techie? Are you a non-techie? Is this something you want to do yourself? Do you need to hire it out? And make those decisions from there. But that would be the basic starting point.
What's your favorite blogging vehicle right now? Is it WordPress?
You know what? I say it depends. It's not about having a favorite. I've been using TypePad since I started, and I have 10 blogs on my TypePad account, so I'm not getting rid of it by any stretch of the imagination.
Wow,
I also do
that's
sites built on, I have sites built on WordPress as well.
Okay.
And they each have their fans and their detractors. And I think that for somebody who wants really kind of more plug and play, who's not really techie, I think TypePad is a really good solution. It's not that difficult to figure out. I mean, yes, there's a learning curve no matter what. I think that WordPress, it's got so many options that you can plug into it,
Yes.
and so many ways it can be customized that to me it's kind of complex. And I'm pretty savvy when it comes to this stuff. And now I just say somebody else do it, because there's just too much to have to try and keep up with. So again, depends. For some people, WordPress is the perfect solution. For others, TypePad is a great solution too.
Excellent. We're getting close to the end here, Kathy, but we have a few more to go.
Well, yeah, what we've got is where can we go from, I mean, this is a perfect at the end. Where do we go to get some more of the valuable information that you have to share with our audience?
Well, that banner that you have on the page there where we're streaming down below, that I believe, I didn't actually get a chance to check it, but I believe that goes to the Master Business Blogging program. That's 5 free videos on how to get the best out of your blog. So that's a great place to start right there. And also on Facebook, it's facebook.com/blog squad. That's my Facebook page. I post resources there all the time. I answer questions there. I'm happy to, answer anything that people want to ask me about business blogging. My blog about blogging is at buildabetterblog.com. And also I'm on Twitter at Denise Wakeman, and I'm always there. I'll reply to any questions you ask me there too.
And I know that because I have seen you, I have actually witnessed you doing that. It's absolutely amazing, Denise, because there are so many people out there that really get into what they're doing and they get at a certain level and they just don't connect quite like they did when they first started. So I just know from my perspective, and I know Brian will agree, it's much appreciative, and we talk to different people and they say that they like that everybody stays truly connected, because sometimes it doesn't feel that way. But we are at the end of our hour, and it always comes so dang quick. But I just want to tell you, you've been an absolutely delightful guest. You're beautiful in pink, and I love pink too. So I want to tell all of our viewers out there, for those that are listening live and when it's recorded, don't forget, we're going to move way beyond October, but don't forget about thinking about breast cancer. Just thank you so much again for coming. Denise, just thank you. Brian and I have learned both so much tonight, and I know our audience has as well, and I'm going to turn it back over to you, Brian.
And thank you, Kathy, so much. As I always say, and I truly mean this, you are literally the glue that holds this show together. Without you, there's so much that you do, and I deeply, deeply appreciate that. So thank you, Kathy. Denise, thank you for spending your valuable time with us tonight and spreading some wonderful tidbits. I know there's never enough time to go through all the great details, but for those of you watching, definitely click on her nose. That'll take you to that Facebook fan page that she had mentioned a little bit earlier, and the banner beneath. And subscribe. Get those videos. I got those. I watched them. Very value-packed. You can watch them at your own speed. You can pause them, fast forward them, whatever you want, and they're free. Yes, you'll get emails from Denise. She just said so today. Is it worth the 5 videos? Absolutely. My goodness, are you kidding me? Thank you, Denise. Appreciate you. Can't wait to catch up and do more with you in the near future. And for all of our viewers out there, we want to thank you very much for spending the time with us. I know, and Kathy knows, that you could be spending your time elsewhere. We appreciate your time in sharing with us. With that, we are going to have another fantastic show coming up. When will that be? One way to find out is click on the register link above. And yes, that's where we capture your email, so we can notify you when our next show will come up, not only when, but who will be on that as well. With that, I'd like to say good night to everybody. God bless, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Log on.
Good night, everybody.